Well, hey guys, it's Spiffyguy and I'm back here with another around the home video, and we're doing a garden update. This is the end of October. I believe it's October 29th. So pretty much at the end of the season. I'll probably do a wrap up at, later on in November, how things worked, what didn't. But essentially, as you can see, I'm kind of tearing things down. I got some branches here that I stripped all the leaves off and put those into the trash can composter to use during the winter as a carbon source, as well as this equine fresh stuff. These are the horse pellets, as you can see. Loud motorcycle, apologies. I've been using this as my carbon source and it's been working out a lot better. Bring you around over here to the composter and you can see that I'm getting full. This one over here is pretty well full. The trash can just got filled up with leaves, and then this one's pretty much full, and I have a whole garden bed left to pull down. But what I end up with at the end is this type of soil here. It's very loose, and it's working out well for me. I think adding that adding the horse pellets is really improving my composting ability. So there's that. Let's see, so what am I doing for fall? Well, I'm cleaning up. I'm pulling out all my cages. I cleaned that bed up, and I don't think I'm going to plant anything in there. I thought about doing some cover crops, but I really kind of got late onto the game on that, and I was going to order like some rye or barley or something that would kind of be interesting, and I don't know, find some uses for. Over here, onions are doing well. I'm starting to actually get onions to come back in now. You can see I'm starting to get some sets in here. If you remember, what I did is I pulled all the seed heads off and dumped them in here, and was hoping for them to kind of come back, and they didn't. The green onions are doing well, but they're becoming a bit thick walled, and I'm thinking next year what I'll do is I'll pull some of these out and replant with seeds. I've been sticking the seed heads in there, and so there have been some small ones sprouting up. And so that's kind of the plan, is to sort of do a refresh. These will last well into the winter though. I can cut them down, they'll grow back. So definitely a good perennial crop. The cilantro is doing its thing. It's kind of getting to the point where it's getting ready to bolt, or at least wants to. It's getting a bit old. So the Super 100s, these guys are still putting on flowers. They're still putting on fruit. Even at the end of October, they're confused. They got put in late in the game, and they're doing well. You can see that my trellising, my netting has pulled out. I definitely think I'm going to build a new net next year, and I think what I'll use is some sort of bank line. It's going to be a little bit more UV resistant, and work from there. Aside from that, I did plant some carrots and stuff in here late in the summer, but none of them came up, so I'm not really too sure what the deal is with that. I'm going to pull out my my trellis from the 4x5 bed and actually pack it up, and hopefully the netting will last a little bit better. This netting only lasts about maybe 1-2 seasons before it kind of gets torn apart and the UV gets to it. So once again, I may decide to build something a little bit more permanent with bank line. This bed is just an absolute mess. I haven't done anything with it. The basil has taken over here, which is great because the bees are loving it, and you can see that they're just all over the place. And if you want bees, plant some basil, because they're doing fantastic. So I think I'm going to leave that for a while, because there's like 10 bees just on that basil right there. So once again, I plan to replace that in the spring with a wicking type barrel, and I'm planning on getting some strawberry seeds and planting that bucket out a little bit better. There's thoughts of this tree right here, which is some sort of crab apple, possibly being removed and being replaced with an actual apple tree. That would give me the opportunity to relocate a little bit, and that corner over there is kind of a pain in the butt to mow, and nobody uses it. So the thought would be perhaps maybe I will cordon that off and put some wildflowers, milkweed, that sort of thing, draw pollinators, and help out the butterflies too. If I need to get irrigation, if you remember on the irrigation video, I capped off the end there, so I could in theory run irrigation, although I do have a cable for cable TV that runs from a box behind the fence there all the way up to the corner of the house. So I just need to make sure that when I'm messing with that, I don't mess it up. I don't use that particular cable, but the next homeowners may. You can see these trellises, they're all falling apart up here. They're all tearing out, and the bank line can only do so much to hold it up onto the frame. So I think the big thing in order is learn how to do some nets. This planter I cleaned up, and I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with it. I may drop some radishes in there. These two planters I think I'm going to pull out. I had talked about putting in another one of the 55-gallon wicking beds where you cut it in half and make two planters, and I think I'm either going to put the two planters here or one here and one down in that corner. I really kind of want another compost barrel, I'll be honest with you. A nice little one of those pickle barrels that flips, I think would be kind of neat to build right there. So the big thing that I'm working on right now is the 4x5 bed. You can see that my mammoth jalapenos are still working. They're still putting on buds and fruit. So I'm kind of leaving them. I pulled the cages out and I put up the PVC frame. So my intent is to hoop this for the winter. And all it is it's 1/2-inch PVC, and these tees, they're just kind of friction fit in there. They're not glued. After they're out in the sun a bit, they'll they'll conform to the shape that they need to be. I'll be putting in some heavy plastic that I got at Home Depot and using these particular clips right here. These are I bought these on Amazon. I'll try to find a link and put them below, but they just snap on. So you put the plastic on there, snap these over the plastic, and it would hold it in place. I would run the plastic all the way to the ground. You can see I have little PVCs in the front here that I can clamp the plastic into. And all I'm doing is I just loosen up the board here, slide the PVC through, and then tighten the board back up. So that works out well. The rabbit fencing just kind of comes off and leans up against it. I can tie it up or whatever. I think this year I may take some black trash bags and skirt the bottom to help heat up and retain heat inside the bed, to make sure that the soil doesn't freeze as much. So that's kind of the plan. I need to get more clips, and the hope is that the side to side part of the plastic will remain stable, and then the front and the back I can make some adjustments for venting. So what I can do is I'll have these clips holding on the side pieces, and then there'll be clips up here for the front, and I can undo those clips and just kind of drape it down. I had a problem last year with duct tape. Duct tape does not work well in the cold. It doesn't work well in the sun. Even Gorilla Tape, it all just came apart. So I think what I need to do is have 4 or 3 different sheets of plastic that overlap, and then go from there. I don't know, it's kind of an experiment. You know, obviously a permanent structure would be a little bit more exciting, but I'm working with what I got. If you remember with the trellises, they're just stuck on the rebar in the ground. So I redid the irrigation in here as well. I took out the emitters, as you can see here, and I'm just running that 1/4-inch line with the 1/2-inch or the 1/2-gallon emitters every 12 inches, and I just ran it through here, and I think that's been working well. Towards late summer, I came out here and I broadcast seed kale, lettuce, some spinach, and cilantro, and I've been taking the basil seeds off the plants and just kind of throwing them in here. The idea is just to have junk on the ground, 1, to see how it works out, and 2, I can use it all for salad greens. So that's the plan, and you can see that the kale is coming up real well, and that stuff wintered fairly well. We've got some basil right there. There's some little bit of lettuce coming up here, a lot of lettuce in here, and it kind of worked out because the plants sheltered it a little bit from the sun. So some of the cooler weather plants, like the spinach and cilantro and stuff like that, they were able to come up. So I'm going to come out here and put some more seeds down as well, and we'll go from there. I haven't started anything inside. I thought about doing some starts outside, and then bring them inside and then bring them out during the winter. But I think we'll just kind of roll with this and see what happens. Another thing I've done is I've also left the stems from the tomatoes, all the root balls in here. I read an article that said that that's actually good for the microbial creatures in the soil to help improve your soil over the winter. And then in the spring, you just pull out the dead ones and put in new stuff. So that's the plan. So once the peppers finally give up the ghost here, and not ghost peppers, then I will go ahead and pull those out and do the same. Okay, so real quick out here in the front, the mint is doing fantastic. I got a lot coming up. What I've been doing is I've been taking this lemon balm and just cutting off the whole stem. So I'll come out here and I'll just cut this whole stem off right about here, and I'll take this and I'll hang it. I'll tie up a whole bunch of this together, hang it, let it sit there for a few weeks, and it'll dry up, get all crinkly, and then I will go ahead and pull the leaves off the stem, stick it in a jar, and I can use that for tea. So that's kind of what I've been doing with this mint and lemon balm. Got the mint up there, lemon balm, and then I've been doing that with the spearmint. The spearmint's been getting a lot more sun. They've been doing fantastic. I do have to make sure that the mint doesn't flower up too much and get too far in the yard. Okay guys, so hopefully that wasn't too long, but that's kind of what I got going on at this point in time. Once I clear out this bed, I do plan to remove the emitters, and I plan to use that half-inch or that quarter-inch line with the half-gallon emitters every 12 inches, and I will go through and weave that through as well, and that is the plan, to pull those emitters. I think that the emitters worked well enough, but I don't think that I got enough spacing on it, and so I was relying on that that irrigation system to do its thing, and I just don't think that I was getting enough water on some of the plants that I needed to. Obviously, you can tell that the tomatoes did well. Unfortunately, most of these are all the Cordy Boo, and they had suffered issues with blossom rot right off the bat. So, you know, that's something that I need to deal with next year. I don't think I'm going to plant that variety next year. I'm going to stick more with the cherries and the small Juliets. So, having lots of fun, getting lots of things growing. So I want to encourage you guys to get out there and do it. You can do cold frames. You can do like a hoop house like this. You can grow indoor, you know, under LED lights, things like that. Look into that. They're getting more efficient, and just grow your own food. I was watching somebody's video, and apparently they got tomatoes that only get like 18 inches high and produce a bunch of cherries. So I think I'm going to look into that next year as well, because I think that would be super cool and fun. But in the meantime, that's what I got going on. So I want to encourage you guys to get out there and do it yourself, and just remember that life's an adventure, so go out and have one.